Good day! I'm Fiona M. Karandang.
I'm Maratina Sharon Cirano.
I'm Tristan J. Igaraan.
Our topic for today is all about
The Commission on Higher Education.
It was created on May 18, 1994 through the passage of the Republic Act No. 7722 or the Higher Education Act of 1994. CHED, an attached agency to the Office of the President for administrative purposes, is headed by a chairman and 4 commissioners, each having a term of office for 4 years.
The Commission en Banc acts as a collegial body in formulating plans, policies, and strategies relating to higher education and the operation of CHED. The creation of CHED was a part of growth agenda on the country's education system outlined by the Congressional Commission on Education or EDCOP in 1992.
Part of the reform was the democratization of the education sector and 3 governing bodies: CHED for tertiary and graduate education, the DepEd for basic education, and the TESDA for technical, vocational, and middle level education.
Mandate: promote relevant and quality higher education, ensure that quality higher education is accessible to all who seek it, particularly those who may not be able to afford it, guarantee and protect academic freedom for continuing intellectual growth, advancement of learning and research, development of responsible and effective leadership, education of high-level professionals, and enrichment of historical and cultural heritage, and commit to moral ascendancy that eradicates corrupt practices, institutionalizes transparency and accountability, and encourages participatory governance in the Commission and the subsector.
Objectives: the overall societal goal and the attainment of inclusive growth and sustainable development, while the higher education subsector goals are the formation of high-level human resource and generation adaptation, and transfer of knowledge and technology for national development and global, strengthen the Commission on Higher Education and other major stakeholders.
Powers and functions: formulate and recommend development plans, policies, priorities, and programs on research, recommend to the executive and legislative branches priorities and grants on higher education and research, set minimum standards for programs and institutions of higher learning recommended by panels of experts in the field and subject to public hearing, and enforce the same, monitor and evaluate the performance of programs and institutions of higher learning for appropriate incentives, as well as the imposition of sanctions such as but not limited to diminution or withdrawal of subsidy, recommendation on the downgrading or withdrawal of accreditation program, termination or school course.
Identify, support, and develop potential centers of excellence in program areas needed for the development of world-class scholarship, nation-building, and national development. Recommend to the Department of Budget and Management or the DBM the budgets of public institutions of higher learning as well as general guidelines for the use for their income. Rationalize program and institution of higher learning and set standards, policies, and guidelines for the creation of new ones as well as the conversion or the elevation of school to institution of higher learning, subject to budgetary limitations and the number of institutions of higher learning in the province or region where creation, conversion, or elevation is sought to be made. Develop criteria for allocating additional resources such as research and program, development grants, scholarship, and other similar programs, provided that this shall not detract from the fiscal autonomy already enjoyed by colleges and universities.
Power and function: direct or redirect purposive research by institution of higher learning to meet the needs of agro-industrialization and development, devise and implement resource development schemes, administer the Higher Education Development Fund as described in Section 10 of Republic Act 7722, which will promote the purposes of higher education, review the charters of institutions of higher learning and state universities and colleges, including the chairmanship and membership of their governing bodies, and recommend appropriate measures as basis for necessary action, promulgate such rules and regulations, and exercise such other powers and functions as may be necessary to carry out effectively the purpose and objectives of Republic Act 7722, and perform such other function as may be necessary for its effective operation and for the continued enhancement, growth, and development of higher education.
CHED Chairman Dr. Maria Cynthia Rose Banzon Bautista is Commissioner of the Commission on Higher Education on secondment from the University of the Philippines in Diliman, where she is Professor 12. One of the country's leading social scientists, she had led various multidisciplinary, interinstitutional, and international research teams in exploring a wide range of concerns that include agrarian issues, alternative development and research collaboration models, natural disasters, education reform, the middle classes, urbanization, overseas labor migration, economic crisis, and social safety nets.
Commissioner Nena Lim P. Defensor has always been involved in the promotion of quality education in the Philippines. She was formerly chair of the Coordinating Council on Accreditation and has been invited to international and national fora to talk on efforts to enhance quality in tertiary education. She was among the select group of 35 people invited by the World Bank to a workshop in Seoul, Korea to discuss the issues of higher education in the East Asia Pacific region. Presently, Commissioner Defensor is chairperson of the Board of Regents of 25 state universities and colleges. Before this, she chaired 22 governing boards. Her stewardship of 47 boards to date gives her a vast experience in educational leadership.
Commissioner Nona S. Recaport earned her degree in Bachelor of Science in Commerce from Assumption College. She also took specialized courses on state and trust management in Europe and merchandising and quality course at Trapagen College in New York. She completed a 2 year course in paralegal from Southern Florida University and took up the new teacher's education course at the Columbia University in New York. She completed his master and doctorate degrees in philosophy, specializing in organization development, which including conflict management at Sadie School of OD. Commissioner Ricafort holds the distinction of being among the women leaders who assume multiple roles in the international and domestic arena, covering both professional and social civic aspects.
Dr. Roberto S. Sangalang earned his PhD or Doctor of Philosophy in Rural Sociology at Ohio University Columbus, PhD or Doctor of Philosophy Agricultural Education candidate, University of the Philippines, Los Baños, 1978. He successfully finished his Master of Science in Agricultural Education, year 1975. He is currently a professor at Cavite State University.
CHED is responsible in the formulation and implementation of policies, plans, and programs for the development and efficient operation of the higher education system in the country. The delivery of higher education in the Philippines is provided by a private and public higher education institution. Geographically, there are 2,247 HEIs in the country. Private higher education institution established under the Corporation Code governed by the special law and general provision of this code. Private higher education institution established under the Corporation Code governed by the special laws and general provision of this code, covered by the policies, standards, and guidelines set by CHED in terms of program, offerings, curriculum, administration, and faculty academic qualifications. Public higher education institution, state universities and colleges, chartered public higher education institution established by law, administered, and financially subsidized by the government, have their own charters, Board of Regents or BOR for the state universities, Board of Trustees or BOP For state colleges, BOR and BOT maintain the formulation and approvals of policies, rules, and standards in SUCs.
Local universities and college, established by the local government through resolution or ordinances financially supported by the local government concerned. CHED supervised institution, non-chartered public post-secondary education established by law, administered, supervised, and financially supported by government. Other government school, public secondary, and post-secondary education institution, usually technical, vocational education, institution that offer higher education programs. Special, directly under the government agency, stipulated in the law that created them, provide specialized training in areas such as military science and national defense.
Commission on Higher Education Activities, Projects, and Programs. Rationalization of HEIs and programs within a moratorium period on the opening of new programs, especially in oversubscribed disciplines. The objective is to lay the foundation for a more efficient and effective system in delivering quality public higher education services and for a more flexible regulatory framework for private higher education provision. The project components of the program include the following: aligning HEI programs with national development goals, job skills matching project in order to produce highly competent and competitive graduates. HEIs are encouraged to offer programs that are in demand and responsive to the needs of industry, both domestic and international. The job skills matching project includes formulation of master plans for priority disciplines, review of curricula to make them fit the needs of industries, establishment of labor market information system or LMIS to provide up-to-date information on jobs that are in demand and hard to fill, to guide both students and parents in choosing courses, identification of areas of mismatch, and implementation of strategies to address such mismatches, massive information dissemination on employment opportunities among students and HEIs, and periodic conduct of graduate tracer studies. Relevant and responsive research, development and extension or RDE. Under this program, CHED supports the conduct of RDE aimed at generating, adapting, and transferring or applying new knowledge and technologies for improving productivity and livelihood, promoting peace, empowering women, protecting the environment, reducing disaster devastation, and alleviating poverty.
Typology and mapping of HEIs and programs. A system of classifying HEIs is being designed based on their mandate and function vis-a-vis national development goals. This typology will be harmonized with quality assurance criteria to allow HEIs to focus and excel within their respective classifications and be recognized for such excellence. A GIS-based map of HEIs and programs is currently being updated to serve as a decision support system for the rationalization of HEIs and programs distribution in the country. The map will provide information on the current status of program offerings, including quality, cost, and marketability. It will be used to match the program offerings with demand or trust at the national and regional levels. The output of this project will be also used as basis for phasing out oversubscribed programs and for promoting subscribe for relevant programs. Amalgamation of HEIs and programs. The objective of this program is to restructure the higher education system, specifically the public component consisting of SUCs or local university and colleges or LUCs and other government schools to improve efficiency in the delivery of quality programs, minimize duplication and promote complementation between and among the private and public HEIs. The restructuring could be achieved partly through amalgamation of SUCs into regional university system or RUS and development of specialized institutions. The project shall provide assistance in the initial and implementation of the RUS in a selected region. including joint research and extension, academic program complementation, and infrastructure improvement for the SUCs involved.
Quality and standards. Quality assurance project. These projects include the settings and enforcement of policies, standards and guidelines, PSDs, PSDs, academic programs, monitoring of compliance and pace. Bakit pa
Out
na
or closure.
Please start.
Phase out phase out closure of non-compliant program, institutional quality assurance, monitoring and evaluation, and accreditation, policy standards and guidelines, formulation and enforcement. In order to ensure the Philippines higher education programs are comparable to international standard, CHED periodically conducts international benchmarking reviews and updates the PSDs for academic program offering this internationally benchmark PSDs set the minimum quality standards and requirements that HEIs have to comply with before they are given permits to operate such academic programs and recognition to award degrees to their student. In the case of SUCS, the commissioners who sit chairperson of their boards ensure that the SUC program offerings meet the set standards. Program monitoring, closure, phase out of non-compliant program. Ongoing authorized program are regularly monitored, and those found to be non-compliant are ordered for immediate closure or phase out. Maritime HEIS are monitor and evaluate to determine compliance with standard training, certification, and watchkeeping STCW.
Institutional quality assurance, monitoring, and evaluation. In addition to program monitoring and evaluation, HEIs are monitored through EQUAME. This is a mechanism for monitoring and evaluation of outcomes of the program's processes and services of higher education institutions in the key area of quality of teaching and learning as supported by the governance and management, student services, relations with the community, and management of resources. Accreditation HEIs with programs that attain standards above the minimum are encouraged and assisted to have their programs evaluated by private accreditors or a recognized body, leading to the issuance of a certificate of accredited status. A compliance with international standards. This involves participation in international or regional networks and cross-border collaborations and initiatives toward recognition of HEIs or programs by international entities like the Washington Accord.
Promoting Alternative Learning System or ALS, the Commission recognized that education and acquisition of higher learning take place both within and beyond the confines of the classroom, and hence the need to formally acknowledge higher learning obtained from the informal and non-formal modes of education. Expanded Tertiary Education Equivalency and Accreditation Program is a comprehensive educational assessment program at the tertiary level that recognizes, accredits, and gives equivalencies to knowledge, skills, attitudes, and values gained by individuals from relevant work. Implemented through deputized higher education institutions that shall award the appropriate college degree beneficiaries. Must be a Filipino, at least high school graduate, must have 5 years working experience in the field of or industry related to the academic program they are obtaining equivalency, must be able to show proof of proficiency, capability, and true knowledge in the field applied for equivalency.